Okay, so today we're going to talk about the coordinate plane. And this is the graphing that we've done of ordered pairs, but we've always looked at positive numbers on the number line. So a coordinate plane contains a horizontal number line, that's this, the x-axis, and a vertical number line, that's this, the y-axis, and the origin is right at 0, 0. Now, what we've always known is this first quadrant, quadrant 1, and these are the positive numbers on the number line. So this is just 1, get 2, 3, 4 going up, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4 going up. And so the number line only went one direction as the numbers went, and we only plotted ordered pairs over here. So if we were plotting 2, 1, it would be 2 over and 1 up. And that's what we always did from about 3rd grade. But now that you're in 7th grade, you know that number lines extend to negative numbers. And so this would be, if this was 0, this would be -1, -2, -3, -4. This is still on the x-axis, and this is negatives, and this is -1, -2, -3, -4 on the y-axis. And we name the quadrants because you may want to say this point is in quadrant 2, or this point is in quadrant 3. And the way that you remember these, there's quadrants, which means 4, so they're separated into 4 parts. And you go counterclockwise. So this is the way a clock goes. Counterclockwise is going against a clock, against the hands of a clock. So quadrant 1 goes over to quadrant 2. And the x is negative and the y is positive. And then you go to quadrant 3 where your x is negative and your y is negative. So negative, negative for quadrant 3. And then you go to quadrant 4 where your x is positive and your y is negative. And so a test question or a quiz question, they might give you an ordered pair and say, which quadrant is this in? So if they gave you -2, -2, you go x first to -2, down to -2, and you would say that's in quadrant 3. So the things that we've been plotting are ordered pairs, and so here's quadrant 1, and you might just see Q and the Roman numeral 1. Positive numbers are to the right of 0 and up from 0, so to the right and up. And then negative numbers are to the left of 0 and down from 0 in quadrant 3. And these are negative positive, and these are positive negative. Can you find out what the signs would be in each quadrant? Well, sure. You can designate what they are by the x and the y. Remember, the x goes first, then the y. So always the horizontal axis, that number is plotted first, and then the vertical axis that is plotted next. And so I know this is really busy, but whenever you have an ordered pair, this is your x coordinate, this is your y coordinate, and you would go over 3 and up 2. But if, I'll show you how the negatives work. Points on the coordinate plane are identified by ordered pairs. An ordered pair consists of 2 numbers in a certain order. So this is the x, this is the y. It's always 2 numbers, and that's what you're going to plot. When plotting points on the coordinate plane, always begin at the origin, 0, 0. Plot the x-coordinate first, right or left, and then the y-coordinate up or down. So you have to go along the x and then along the y, whether it's positive or negative, and follow those numbers. So always x first and then y. So here's my coordinate plane, and we'll look at this. So if I gave you the ordered pair -3, -4. This is my x and this is my y. So on my x is my horizontal, and so I would go -3, and then I would go y, -4. So this is my y, and this is my x. And this is still x over here, and this is still y over here. So -3, and then on the y, -4. So I would go down to here, and I would say -3, -4. Now, I don't always remember what quadrant that is, so I always label my quadrants: quadrant 1, counterclockwise, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. And as you can see, a negative is going to be in quadrant 3. So my next one is going to be a positive and a negative. So I'm going to go 2 on my x, and so that's 2 to the right, and then 1 negative. Well, I look at my y, and my negatives are going down, my positives are going up. So 2 and then -1 right here. And so that is 2, -1, and that's quadrant 4. So let's look at something in quadrant 2. So I would go, let's say -3, and let's say 1. So x is -3, so I would come over here, -3 to the left, and +1 would be up to 1. And so that's -3, 1, and that's where it is. Now the ones that get tricky for me are the ones that are on 0. So if I had -2, 0, okay? So that means I go -2 is my x still, -2. Now 0 means I go neither up nor down, so I stay right there. And so that's my point, -2, 0. And that's on a line, it's not in a quadrant. So whenever it's on the line going through the origin, it's not going to be in a quadrant, because you can say between 2 and 3, but it's not in one of those. So let's look at if we have 0, -4. So again, this is, I'm going 0 from 0, neither right nor left, but then I have to go -4 my y coordinate. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and right there. And so that's 0, -4. So these always look weird to me, and you just have to think of what's the positioning, did I go left or right, did I go up or down, and by how many. And so that gives you an idea of the positive and negative. So for your homework check, what you're going to do is you are going to say what ordered pair is, what the ordered pair is for each of these points. So A, you would say go over and up and say what that included. And so in your homework check, you're going to put the x coordinate, the y coordinate, in parentheses. So you put your answer here. And then for B, you'd put your x coordinate, your y coordinate, and your parentheses. Your x coordinate, your y coordinate, and your parentheses. And then tomorrow, you're going to be answering questions about points on the graph. So this is A, this is B, this is C. You're going to be answering points on the graph, and you're going to be developing pictures by plotting the ordered pairs and connecting the lines. You're going to make drawings. So it's a lot of fun. It's just practice of either over right, over left, or up and down. So X first, Y second. Have a great day.